Okay, good morning. The time is 9:03. Today is March the 2nd. Excuse me, it's April 2nd, isn't it? No, April 2nd. I was wrong. It's still 9:03. Got that part right. Okay, we're in headquarters. We're in Baton Rouge at the DOC headquarters. We're going to be the committee on parole, and we're going to be handling the cases today. All of our cases are going to be at Angola. And so you can see our name tags, who we are. On my left is Chuck Tillis. On my right is Danny Barra, and I'm Steve Prater. I'll be the acting chairman today. And in headquarters, we have the staff. Would you introduce yourselves, please?
Jason Thompson, sure, that's right.
Francis Abbott.
Okay, and we're at Angola, and would you tell us at Angola, would you introduce everybody that's in the room with you? Is the warden there, or?
Yes, sir. Darrell, no, I'm the warden.
Okay.
Deputy Warden.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Orange Shipley, offender record.
Jody Sturgeon, program consultant.
Bill Cranford, nurse practitioner.
Tanya Faust, hospice RN. Sandra Teisel, RN supervisor.
Okay, and we are here to discuss the furlough, medical furlough for Kendrick Hall.
No.
CLARION Bay. Are you Mr. Bay?
Yeah,
And your first name is Clarion?
Claire. CLARION
Clarion, yes. And what is your DOC number?
73904.
Okay, and we're here considering not a parole, but we're here considering a medical furlough, which is a little bit different. Even though we're called the Committee on Parole, we got to talk about this. And so this case, your case has been assigned to Mr. Danny Barra, and I'm going to let him go ahead and take it from the top and ask you some questions, and then we'll come back and ask some questions, and then we'll vote on what we think would be best served in your particular purpose.
All right.
Barra?
Today we have for consideration a medical treatment furlough for Clarion Bay, who's a third felony offender who was convicted of first-degree murder on 5/23/86 and sentenced to death. Then on 1/23/89, after an appeal to the Louisiana Supreme Court, was resentenced to serve life in prison in Sabine Parish. You have no parole eligibility date, no good time date, and no full-time date. It's a life sentence. That sounds correct to you, Mr. Bay?
Yeah,
Okay. We have him here today for consideration for medical treatment furlough. And this has been recommended by the jail medical staff, the medical director, and the long-term care hospice administrator. And we would like to hear what the warden, Mr. Benoit, has to say about the medical furlough and his behavior there.
Are you ready for me to speak now, Mr. Barr?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I've known Clarion since he got here. He come here with the death penalty, and he got it overturned. In his younger days, he was a handful. But as he got older and matured, his reputation kind of followed him, so he stayed in the cell blocks a long time. But he's been a very long time. I think he's been on the nursing unit for 15 years now. He's aged out. He's not a threat to any security here anymore. When he first got here, like I say, he was a disciplinary problem, and that caused his reputation to follow him for a very long time. But he outlived that, and he's done really well for the last 15 years.
Thank you very much. Today we have in support, we have family members, prison staff, doctors, and we also have Ms. Adrienne Hutchinson. Would you tell us what you got to say about it?
Good morning, board. Mr. Bay is actually represented by the LSU Law Parole Clinic. I have with me to my left, Ms. Maggie Eubanks. She's a second-year law student who participated in the parole clinic. She provided the brief. She worked on the brief that you all received. She is not certified under Louisiana Supreme Court Rule 20, but she would be speaking in support today, so she would take that role.
Okay, well, let's hear from Ms. Eubanks.
Good morning, members of the committee. Once again, my name is Maggie Eubanks, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today in support of CLARION Bay's request for medical furlough. I'm a second-year law student participating in the Parole and Reentry Clinic under the supervision of Ms. Adrienne Hutchison. While I'm not certified under Louisiana Supreme Court Rule 20, I respectfully offer this statement in support of Mr. Bay's request. Medical treatment furlough is a unique form of parole established under Louisiana law through Louisiana Revised Statute 15574.20. Unlike most parole cases where an incarcerated individual petitions for release, medical treatment furlough cases are initiated by the institution itself, acknowledging the inmate's medical needs and the great burden placed on Louisiana State Penitentiary to provide adequate care. And that is precisely the situation that we face today. Louisiana State Penitentiary has formally requested Mr. Bay's transfer to River Oaks Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Baker, Louisiana, a facility that is fully equipped to address his complex medical conditions. And Mr. Bay fully supports Louisiana State Penitentiary's request and is prepared for immediate transfer if granted. At 76 years old, Mr. Bay suffers from over 30 serious medical conditions. While some, like a urinary tract infection or an ingrown toenail, may appear minor in isolation, together they have contributed to a severe decline in his overall health. His condition has deteriorated to the point that he is mostly wheelchair-bound and has lost nearly all vision in his left eye. Due to the complexity of his medical needs, Mr. Bay has been housed in the medical ward for over 15 years. Preventing him from participating in rehabilitative programs and services. Over this time, his condition has worsened significantly. What began as treatment for minor ailments has escalated to spinal stenosis, chronic kidney disease, Crohn's disease, strokes, seizures, and encephalopathy. Most recently, Mr. Bay underwent surgery to remove a mass from his neck, after which he remained comatose for months. While the Louisiana State Penitentiary medical staff has done their best to care for him, his conditions require intensive, round-the-clock treatment, straining the facility's resources and significantly increasing costs. The financial burden is extremely considerable. Mr. Bay is prescribed 33 different medications per month, with an estimated cost of around $15,000 per month, according to GoodRx data. Additionally, the average cost to house a geriatric inmate at Louisiana State Penitentiary can exceed $90,000 annually and can reach over $1 million per year if the inmate reaches the age of 90, based on the Department of Corrections website. Beyond these costs, the Department of Corrections must also cover Mr. Bay's frequent hospitalizations. Over his 38 years of incarceration, he has been hospitalized 20 times. 8 of which have occurred in just the last 2 years. His declining health has led to a rapid increase in emergency medical transport needs, further straining Louisiana State Penitentiary's medical and security personnel. Granting Mr. Bay medical treatment furlough would serve both humanitarian and fiscal interests. Transferring him to River Oaks Nursing and Rehabilitation Center would provide him with the specialized care he desperately needs in a properly equipped medical facility, reduce the financial burden on the Department of Corrections, cutting costs associated with his hospitalization, medication, and long-term medical care, and free up valuable resources at the Louisiana State Penitentiary, allowing medical staff to better serve the prison's remaining population. Additionally, Mr. Bay presents no risk to public safety. Due to his age, physical condition, and chronic pain, he poses no substantial flight risk or danger. His sole concern is receiving appropriate medical care to manage his suffering. For these reasons, both the Louisiana State Penitentiary and Mr. Bay respectfully ask this honorable committee to grant his medical treatment furlough. Doing so would not only ensure he receives necessary medical care, but would also alleviate the significant financial and logistical strain on LSP. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. That's all the people we had here that wanted to speak in support. We do have letters from family members in support. And like I said earlier, prison staff and medical staff. We have in opposition, nobody here to speak, but we do have opposition from law enforcement and the victim's family. So, Mr. Bay, tell us why you should be released and sent to a medical treatment furlough, why you think it's a good idea.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Barras. The prison is indicating, did you want to speak to the medical staff regarding their request for his treatment furlough?
What about do they want to speak?
Right, we have the medical staff that put in the request for the treatment furlough.
Let's hear from him before we hear from Mr. Bay then.
Okay. Thank you all for your time. I've treated Mr. Bay for approximately the last 3 years since I began working here at Louisiana State Penitentiary. In that time, there has been a pretty steady decline in his overall health, to the point at which now he is essentially wheelchair bound, and does require assistance with some activities of daily living. A lot of this stemmed from a carotid body tumor surgery that was performed last May. After that surgery, there were several pretty significant complications, one of which was a stroke. He also had aspiration pneumonia, which required him to be on continuous oxygen for approximately 2 months upon his return from the hospital. And since that time, just overall clinical status and functional status has generally declined. He has improved some, but not back to what his baseline status was prior to that surgery, which was approximately a year ago.
All right. Well, I guess after hearing all that, we don't need to hear from Mr. Bay. Do any of the board have any questions for anybody on the staff or anybody? No.
So I just want to make sure, you understand, this is not a parole. This is just a medical furlough. So he's not being released or forgiven or because he's been rehabilitated or anything like that. It's just simply a means to where it frees up our resources, but he's held under the same conditions he's held, just at a different location, basically. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I don't know who I'm asking a question to. I guess I'm just saying it out loud. Okay?
Yes, sir, that's
So-
correct.
Okay, and, all right, well, I don't have any questions.
All right, I guess it's time to vote. I'll vote first. And I find that Mr. Bay meets the requirements for a medical treatment furlough. He's not serving a life sentence, a death sentence for first-degree murder or awaiting execution. Louisiana State Penitentiary has secured his placement at River Oaks Hospital, where the staff is familiar with the requirements for necessary supervision of a prisoner like Mr. Bay. Mr. Bay is not considered a threat to society, flight risk. He has a low Tiger score. His numerous medical conditions have caused him great suffering at LSP, and the limited staff is burdened with the treatment and overwork due to the constant monitoring of his care needs. By transferring Mr. Bay to River Oaks, the committee will provide him with an opportunity to receive care at a facility that's better equipped to handle all his medical needs. So that being said, I'm going to vote in favor of doing it, but I'm going to add these conditions to the furlough that say he cannot leave the nursing home except for advanced medical treatment. He cannot have a cell phone or landline in his room, but can make calls when P&P agent is present for monitoring. He will be supervised by probation and parole as an EMAX level for the entire period of his furlough, and that he will return to Angola if his medical condition improves.
All right, Mr. Tillis?
I concur with Mr. Barra.
Okay, and I concur also. So at this point, you're medically furloughed, which doesn't mean you're released, you're medically furloughed. And if you get better, we're gonna bring you back. And otherwise, we're gonna let the nursing home take care of you, and probation and parole monitor all of your activities just like you were in prison. That'll be the end of that here. It's 9:18.
Thank y'all.
Board.
All right, Claron.
Okay, good morning. Is your name Ricky Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're at the right place then, and we're at headquarters Baton Rouge. We'll continue with the Committee on Parole. You are at Angola, and so could I get the staff there to introduce yourself?
Darrell Benoit, I'm the warden.
Rochelle Ambo, deputy warden.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Carmen Shipley, offender record.
Jody Surgeon, program consultant.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. And we're going to hear today, we're going to hear your request for parole, Mr. Thomas. So what is your DOC number?
5550.
Okay, and I'll be doing the main questioning in just a few minutes to talk to you about, but I'd like to know, first off, why, before we hear the people that are going to talk for you, why do you feel like that you're worthy and have earned the right to be paroled from your sentence?
I have the right mindset now, and by taking these programs, which one was thinking for a change, to help me to think right, help me to make better decisions, and I'm also a good hard worker, and I will be working I work so I won't have to worry about breaking in or stealing anything from anyone, and I have also learned my lesson, and I don't want to go through this anymore, and I want to be there for my family and my children, my grandson that I care about, and I just want to work with the Parole Project to find me substance abuse treatment, and also A&A that I can attend weekly. And I also would like to say that I am sorry to this whole entire board, and especially to you and also your deputies, for having to put in long hours to consult the people who I had victimized over the past. And I'm just want you all to know that I'm not the same person anymore. I want to be responsible and be able to work where I want and take care of my responsibility, report to my parole officer on time, and stay out of trouble, stay around positive people, and get involved in anything positive with programs or whatever. I don't want this no more. I'm broken.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, sir. Appreciate that. We'll start with, let's see, Caitlin Newsflanger, if I'm saying that right. Ms. Newsflanger, did you want to save your remarks till last?
Yes, if I could, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk to his other supporters, let them talk, and then we'll let you talk, and then we'll ask questions. How about that?
Great. Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kerry Myers, there you are, Kerry. Why don't you tell us what the Parole Project has in mind?
Yes, good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. I'm here to tell the board that Mr. Thomas is a client of Parole Project. Should the board grant his parole today, Parole Project will provide him transitional housing. We're actually prepared to provide him long-term housing until he is, so we can make sure he is gainfully employed and prepared to be self-sufficient. While he's in our program, he'll go through the mentorship and the programs that all our clients participate in, and we'll establish him with the necessary services. Particularly, though, we'll focus on based on the fact that he's 54 years old, he's healthy. We'll focus on gainful employment. We believe Mr. Thomas can find gainful employment, and that through the mentorship and case management that we provide, he'll learn to be self-sufficient. So if this board would grant him parole today, we'd like to assure the board that Parole Project will provide the services he needs until he gets to that point.
Okay, Mr. Myers, thank you for that. Thank you for the work that y'all do. Let's talk to Mick Kligger, if I'm saying that right, social worker for IPNO. Would you talk to us?
Hey there, yeah, how's it going? You got my name.
Good.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak today. My name's Mick Kliegler. I'm the supervisor of client services at Innocence Project New Orleans, also a licensed master social worker. I've spent several months working with Mr. Ricky Thomas. He has an intellectual disability, as the board may be able to see, that's been present since birth. He describes himself as a slow learner, and struggles with reading and writing. He struggles with understanding abstract or multi-part questions, organizing his thoughts, and expressing himself. Um, I just want to make sure that none of that is mistaken for a lack of commitment on his part to his own rehabilitation. Um, I've coordinated with LPP to create a pretty comprehensive reentry plan that is tailored to Mr. Thomas's needs and emphasizes structure, routine, and in particular sobriety maintenance. So I know you have it before you. I'd like to briefly just go over the details with y'all. If the board sees fit to grant Mr. Thomas parole, my team will meet him at the gates of Angola and transport him directly to LPP, where he can reside long term, as you heard Mr. Carey say. Within the first 72 hours, I will personally ensure that Mr. Thomas checks in with his parole officer and attends an AA or NA meeting. And then within a week of release, Mr. Thomas has actually been admitted to the intensive outpatient program at the Grove Recovery in Baton Rouge. So that's a pretty intensive program. They meet 3 days a week, 3 hours a day. The Grove staff would transport him to and from LPP housing to the program. And they also require that he attends 3 AA meetings weekly in addition to their programming. He already has an assigned supportive employment caseworker at Capital Area Human Services. So that person's job is to help him find and retain part-time employment that is consistent with his abilities. So in addition to that support from LPP, he already has work experience in roofing, groundskeeping, janitorial work. He already has obtained his driver's license. And so with that support, I believe, like Mr. Carey, that Mr. Thomas is actually quite employable. I'm also going to assist Mr. Thomas in applying for SSI benefits, for which he is eligible but has never received. And then finally, I'm going to assist Mr. Thomas in joining a Christian ministry in Baton Rouge, as his faith and his faith community, as you might hear from him, have been really key components of his rehabilitation while he has been in prison. So our organization is committed to providing Mr. Thomas the long-term support he needs to succeed in the free world. There's no time limit on our services. I have 6 years of experience in the reentry field and also experience working with adults with intellectual disabilities specifically. And my team at IPNO has thus far successfully supported every one of our clients that have come home on parole. Based on my experience with Mr. Thomas, I believe that he can adhere to this plan. He can maintain his sobriety and he can succeed on parole this time around. I respectfully ask that you consider granting him this opportunity. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for those comments. We'll take those into consideration. Now let's talk to Claricia Stromeyer, the daughter. Is she there, Miss Stromeyer?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, you can stay seated there.
Hi, I'm Clarissa, his oldest daughter. I'm 25. I just would like to say that on his behalf, I asked that y'all, just give him a second chance, give him a chance just to prove to y'all that he's capable of working and being like a family man. You know, he has 3 kids, he has a grandson, I have a son. They've been bonding, they're over the phone, we came and visited. So I just asked that y'all just give him a chance to prove that he can and that he is a tradesman based off the phone calls and the visitation. I can see that he's not who he used to be when he was in his 20s. He's a hardworking man. He's a God-fearing man, and that we just want him to come home to be able to continue to be with his kids and his grandson and to help raise his grandson as well. So just give him a chance to prove to y'all that he can do what he's supposed to do.
Okay, thank you for those remarks. And one other person I'd like to hear from would be the facility down there, the warden. That's real important what the warden thinks.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Ricky's a minimum aid trustee. He served 19 years. He's got 18 DB reports. His last one was in 2016. I think since his last, role here, and he's taken some more classes. He's got victim awareness, substance abuse, anger management, completed the STR program, 100 hours, moral compass, thinking for a change. He's got his company certificate for his time that he worked over to vegetable processing plant. And I think he does have his driver's license now.
Okay.
He's got a good work ethic. He's not been a disciplinary problem to us at all.
Okay, thank you, warden. We appreciate your comments. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ricky, let me talk to you now. Okay, I've got I'll be the interviewer for your case, and I've read everything on here, and I've got some concerns, but I've also got some good things. You got a good support system, it seems, that they worked hard to help you support. But let me ask you something. Have you ever had something stolen from you?
So yes, sir.
How'd that feel?
It made me feel like why I deserve it, caused me to fear to leave my locker open or locked, leaving thinking someone that gonna break in and steal what else that I had. It just made me feel bad.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to hear you say that, and you did mention the victims, and I think that's important because,
Yes,
as
sir.
you know, as well as I do, you got I think you're 7 felony convictions for thefts or something like that, burglaries, thefts, and although you hadn't hurt anybody, we all know you get convicted of 7 times of burglary. There's a lot more burglaries that probably happened that you didn't get caught on, and so that's 7 families or businesses or whatever that have really been impacted. And then the other problem that I have is so far 9 different times you've been revoked on your parole or probation. And I'm just kind of curious, what makes you think now that you think it's 20 years is gonna make a difference?
Yes, sir. I say that I'm someone now that will report on time to my parole officer, whoever he may be, and also pay my monthly fee and stay out of trouble and always around positive people. And I will see that be done.
Okay. All right, let me go over my notes here. Okay, we'll start questioning now from my cohorts up here. Mr. Barrow?
Yeah, earlier you said you was gonna be on a new road because you were, quote, broken. I like the way that word sounded, but I want to know what was it that broke you to make you change your ways, or what was it? Was it a class? Was it just a light bulb in your head? What's got you broken and made you change?
What got me broken were that I look back on all the bad things I have done and what I'm doing now, and caused me not to want to do wrong anymore or break the law no more. And I will learn, I know that, acknowledge that rules are meant to be followed, and if granted parole, I will follow them, and I'm very, very remorseful for the things I have done since being here on the charges that I'm on, and I'm very remorseful for that, and I just hope to pray that I get a chance to get out and prove that I could be a better person, a good citizen, and a responsible. And it broke me by being here on the life sentence. Not saying I don't deserve it for all the things that I have done, but I am a much better person now, and the broken just with that, I don't want to go through this anymore. And I just want to get out and take responsibility and work for what I want, that I might can have something to give to someone who are in need as well as I do here. And I won't allow myself getting around bad company, and I'm broken for all of that. I want to stay around only positive people and stay engaged in program at the Parole Project, and just work with the Innocent Project in New Orleans, also on my reentry. Surprise the plan that we had laid out together also, and I just want to give back to the community, whatever it takes, to even picking up trash on the side of the road, or mowing lawn, raking yards, or riding lawnmower, cutting grass. I just want to do all those good things. I see nothing but good in me, and I chose to do it. I always stay devoted to my faith.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty good answer. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Tilley?
He's answered the questions I wanted.
Okay, all right, I think that's all. Some of the parole eligibility worksheet, it talks about education or vocational achievement. I know you got a literacy program is one thing, an adult basic education program, job skills training program. Are you certified? Have you had a job skills training program?
Sir, he has a competency certificate in health production, work line. He worked on our vegetable processing plant. So he do have a certificate, a competency for that. That he's able to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. I don't have any other questions then. Mr. Thomas, I'll be the first to vote, and
Excuse me, Mr. Prater? Is
did
it
I
all right
not
if
get, I
Yeah,
didn't get a chance to talk, did I? Okay,
that's right.
better be careful what you say, because I'm ready to vote, and you might mess up.
Okay, all right then. Okay, all right, I'll be brief. Good morning, everybody. Caitlin Newswanger with the Innocence Project New Orleans on behalf of Mr. Thomas. And I just wanted to address a few things that this board has brought up, but I wanted to draw your attention to the way that Mr. Thomas has been described by people that know him in his life, which is very different from how he might have been described before he came to prison. Today, he's been described by Warden Knight, his supervisor, as somebody who's remarkable, somebody who continues to grow in a positive manner and is serious about being a better individual. And Mr. Chatelain in education, who says that he wishes everybody who is offered education services at LSP applied himself the way that Mr. Thomas has. And then Ms. Lori Stone has described Mr. Thomas as somebody having courage and perseverance. And as you already know, Mr. Thomas was before this board 2 years ago asking for parole. And while he was denied, he was encouraged to do programming, and he took that seriously. He heeded that advice and the recommendation. He completed Thinking for a Change, Victim Awareness, Tapuco, the mentor training class. And he also got heavily involved with 2 different ministries here at the main prison. He talks a lot about how he enjoys making community coffee for everybody on Sunday mornings with his ministry and delivers that to the dorm. And so just 2 issues that I know that I anticipated coming up and that we wanted to make sure we reiterated to you is, of course, Mr. Thomas is here as a habitual offender because he has prior convictions, as you know, Mr. Prater, from your parish. And I have to say that the person that sits here before you, this 54-year-old man, is worlds apart from the person who committed those crimes. He has immersed himself in the programming here. He has flourished in the programming. He has learned self-worth, decision-making skills, and empathy. Those are things that he didn't have when he committed those crimes. And the other thing I wanted to address was, of course, this revocation history and why we think that he'll be successful this time on supervision. For one thing, Mr. Thomas is somebody who knows how to follow rules now. He's a Class A trustee. He has not had a write-up since 2016, and that shows that he is trustworthy and he respects rules, and those are two traits that are imperative for somebody who is going to be successful on supervision, and those are traits that he didn't have before he came to prison. He also is set up to lead a stable and productive life. He doesn't have any connections to the streets anymore. He only surrounds himself, as you've heard, with positive people who are building bridges for him. And he's made a deliberate intention, if he's granted early release, not to return to Caddo Parish so he can go live in Baton Rouge long-term with the Parole Project. And you've heard that he is a broken person. And that's true, right? But he's also used this time in prison to sort of build himself back up from being broken. And I think you can see that from his record, that he has become, there's been a gradual transformation of a building up. Somebody that was described as a young adult as incapable or impaired is now described as somebody by his peers as a man devoted to his faith, or by his children as a present father, and by his supervisor as a hard worker. And so, like everybody else, we respectfully request that in light of Mr. Thomas's hard work, his Class A trustee status, his stable reentry plan, that you would grant his parole today. Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. Newswanger, and I have read all of your comments and had notes from your report in here. And so that's why I evidently thought I'd let you talk. But anyway, I apologize for not calling on you, and I appreciate your comments. Okay, now then, I think it's time to vote, and I'll be the first one to vote. And Mr. Thomas, my vote is that you be conditionally granted parole. And when I say that, I want to, because of your extensive record and because of everything that being a habitual, but it's been 20 years and you didn't hurt anybody when you were out. But I want a 6-month work release step down. Work release is not going to be like what you've got right now. You'll have a lot more opportunities to mess up, a lot more temptations. Okay. So at the end of your 6 months, then you will be paroled if you successfully complete that. So
Yes,
you
sir.
understand? So I'm going to give you most of what you want and a big old light at the end of the tunnel. So that's my vote. 6 months work release and then be granted parole, and you're not coming back to Caddo Parish. I like that. Thanks.
Thank
Mr. Tillis,
I concur with Mr. Prater.
Mr. Barrow.
I concur, but I have a couple special conditions myself. Number one, that you stay with the Parole Project for a minimum of 2 years and you follow all their recommendations and their reentry plans. That you complete 2 AA meetings per week. That you be on a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. for the first 6 months of your release. And that you complete 8 hours of community service work per month. All things that you had already agreed to. I'm just putting them in writing. So good luck to you.
All right. Well,
Don't come back.
congratulations. Don't want to see you again unless I see you in East Baton Rouge Parish. That'd be
Yes, sir.
52.
Thank you.
Crazy was talking. I don't know. I usually get a
You can go home.
Good morning. It is 10:09 in the morning, April the 2nd, 2025. Are you Mr. Kendrick Hall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your DOC number, Mr. Hall?
412878.
Okay, well, we're the Committee on Parole. You can see our names, so I don't have to tell you who we are, introduce you. Is the staff there with you in the room?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we're here.
Darrell Benoit, I'm the warden.
Okay, all right. Who else is there, Mr. Warden?
Rochelle Ambo, deputy warden.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Carmen Chipley, inmate records. Jody Sturgeon, program consultant.
Okay, same cast of characters. Well, I appreciate y'all hosting us this morning. This will be our last hearing from your facility. So, Mr. Hall, you're here, and Mr. Tillis is going to take over and going to talk to you about a few different things. It's assigned to him. Mr. Tillis is on my left, and he's going to ask you some questions about why you feel like you need to get out and what you've done and that sort of thing. So, Mr. Tillis, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hall. How are you?
Hello, sir.
Good.
All right.
As Mr. Prater said, tell us why you feel that you deserve to be released.
I don't mind. So to explain what I mean, I've been very cooperative or whatever with serving this time that I've been given. I mean, I haven't caused any problems since I've been here, and I'm not a troublemaker of any kind. You know, I mean, I'm ready to do the right thing.
Wait, what did you do to cause you to be there?
Yeah, excuse me?
What did you do that caused you to be incarcerated?
Why'd you come to prison?
Why you came to prison? What was your crime? What did you do?
It was, well, I was arrested for armed robbery charges. And,
Were you doing drugs?
sir?
Were you doing drugs?
Oh, no, sir.
You weren't doing drugs, you were just robbing people?
Sir, I never robbed anybody.
Okay. On your record, it states differently. It says armed robbery with a firearm. You never did that?
No, sir.
You say you didn't?
I didn't commit any crimes.
I got you.
I never committed any crimes such as armed robbery with a firearm.
Well, why are you here? Can you tell them why you're here?
Well, I took it, went to trial, they found me guilty of it. And basically just sent me down here.
I see. How long have you been incarcerated?
Since March 12th, March 8th, 2005.
2005. Have you taken any classes since you've been there?
No, sir.
Mr. Tillis, this is Ward Benoit. He's right now, he's a maximum security. He's not a disciplinary problem. He's a level of healthcare 3 with mental health. He lives in a one-man cell. He will not come out. Quite frankly, he's kind of falling through the cracks. We're gonna try to do some more stuff mental health wise. We're gonna try to reconnect him to his family. He's never had a visit since he's been here. He's just kind of been, like you said, he's on a lot of mental health medication, but we're gonna try to get some more one-on-one stuff for him and maybe try to get him reconnected with his family, where we could get him to work himself into a step-down program here, where he can get out of maximum security.
Thank you so much, Warden. I really appreciate what you're doing. I have no more questions.
Questions?
I just have one. He can't participate in any programs while he's in this maximum lockdown, so that limits his ability to better himself, correct?
Correct, and mental health wise, he's doesn't feel like he's ever ready to come out. But we're gonna try to work with that. Disciplinary wise, there's no reason why he should be in a one-man cell other than that his frame of mind, he doesn't think that he should be out of a one-man cell.
Thank you. Maybe somebody should talk to him. Hopefully he's gonna get the message today that we can't parole him without any programs, without doing anything to better
Yes,
himself.
we're gonna try to work with him and
Have to come out that
where
cell.
his mental health stat, where his frame of mind, where he'll wanna come out and he's not fearful like that.
Okay, I have no more
Right,
questions.
thanks, appreciate you.
If you got any more questions?
No.
Okay, I think we're ready to vote. Do you have any? Mr. Tillis, it's your,
Today my vote is gonna be to deny because of strong law opposition, law enforcement opposition.
Mr. Morrow.
Gonna deny for the same reason and highly recommend that you decide you want to come out that cell and take part in some of these programs that can help you to get better. We cannot parole you until you take some programs and get yourself in the right position to be released. So if you're serious about wanting to be released, you need to take some programs. That's it.
Okay, I concur with their comments. Sir, I regret to tell you, Mr. Hall, but your parole has been denied today. And hopefully you'll get a bit better. Into the